I know the title of this video sounds incredibly dramatic, but I do feel there are certain things that I've learned or experienced or discovered over the last number of years that have made a significant difference in my life. Now, some of these are practices and some are just realizations. I am not suggesting that these will be life-changing for anybody, but I feel they've made a big enough difference in my life to make this video. Now, some of these are a bit duh, but sometimes I'm also a little bit late to the party. So in today's video, I'm going to share 5 things that changed my life as a woman in her 50s. I'm starting with skin because it's my first love and the general topic of this channel. Number 1 on this list is the double cleanse. It is so incredibly simple, but so incredibly significant. Why did nobody tell me about this sooner? And to be honest, I probably didn't start doing this properly until I was in my 40s. I had no idea what a difference it would make to my skin. I didn't realize that cleansing my face with just my fingers and a cleanser, it just wasn't enough. And making this one simple change had a huge impact on the condition of my skin. I'm not going to say this is absolutely necessary for every human being on the planet, but it's really good for many of us. People who wear a lot of makeup, people who have oily or acne-prone skin, those who live in a city where pollution exposure is higher, and particularly people with facial hair. It's kind of hard to get underneath all that. So as many of you know, the first cleanse is really there to melt and dissolve away all the stuff on our face, our makeup, our sunscreen, pollution, excess sebum, all that stuff. And then the second cleanse is there to actually make sure the skin is clean. And I can see the benefit of this every single night. You know, I always do a first cleanse to get everything off. And then the second cleanse always reveals that there's more stuff left on my face. So I'm constantly reminded the benefit of this practice. And you need more than just your hands. You need something with grip, or I do anyway. You know, a flannel, a muslin, or a microfiber cloth are really great choices. And I think finding the products that you love to use are just as important as the technique itself. Now, my favorite type of product for the first cleanse is a balm. For me, oils just tend to be too runny, drippy, messy, so I am a balm girl all the way. And I am thrilled to be able to share a new release by my favorite skincare brand, Allies of Skin. Yes, I know, it's been a very busy year for these guys. Now, they have kindly sponsored this part of the video and are finally letting me tell you guys all about it. This is the Vitamin C and Omega's Cleansing Balm, and it is not like any other cleansing balm I've used. Firstly, it comes in a tube, which I think is just genius. Not only is it more hygienic, you don't have to stick your fingers into it, but I can travel with it too. I mean, it's lightweight and it's easy to pack. But really, it's all about the consistency. It is like butter. It comes out like a gel, but the spread is incredible. I mean, there's no tugging on the skin. It's super silky and it just feels amazing. Now, to use this, you need to give the tube a little bit of a shake to activate it, and then you warm it up in between your fingers and you apply it to dry skin. Now, I smooth it all over my face, my neck, and my chest. And I'm happy to say there is no sensitivity to the eyes whatsoever. And I mean, and I go all over the eyes, right? So then I emulsify it with just a little bit of water, and then I remove it with the cloth. I absolutely love this stuff. I need more. It's packed with antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin E, and it has an 8-oil complex to dissolve the makeup, but it still leaves my skin so soft, so nourished, and so moisturized. It is absolute heaven. I truly want to bathe in this stuff. My only complaint is that it doesn't come in a much larger container. I would gladly get one twice the size. So this retails for $49, 54 euros, or 47 pounds. And it's available right now on the Allies of Skin website. And what's even better, their Black Friday sale is going on right now, which means you can pick this up for 30% off. So that means it would cost about $35 or 38 euros or 33 pounds. And if you spend more than $130, or the equivalent in pounds and euros, which is £110, 130 euros, you get this cleansing balm for free. So you can stock up on the other stuff and get this one for free. Now, just to warn you, the 30% discount does not apply to all products on the site. So you can use my code, which is SOMARYAOS, and that will get you 20% off any of the full price products. Now, that includes my favorites like the GF serum, the copper tripeptide serum, as well as the 1 SPF. Plus you get a free lip balm on orders over 130 with the cleansing balm. So now is a great time to buy some Allies of Skin. But when it comes to my second cleanse, I prefer a cream cleanser. Like they're the ideal choice for dry skin, sensitive skin, or mature skin, this girl. So for me, this ensures that I don't strip any of the goodness that's left behind from the first cleanse and that it further nourishes my skin. So my favorite drugstore cleanser in this space is the La Roche-Posay Toleriane Dermo Cleanser. This whole range is designed for sensitive skin, and while I don't suffer from that, I love the gentle nature of this cleanser. It just gets it clean without stripping. And it doesn't foam. Like, I really don't like a foam cleanser. That's a young skin's game, in my opinion. Okay, so I talked about needing something to grip, and there are two products that I use the most. The first is the Halo Glow Makeup Remover Pads. These are little two-sided fluffy numbers, and I use these on the days that I don't wear makeup. So they're great for the sunscreen only days when I just don't have as much stuff on my face. So I use one side for my first cleanse, and then I rinse it all off, and then I use the second side for my second cleanse. Now the ones I use with makeup are a two-sided towel mitt, like this guy right here. Now, as the name suggests, it's stitched on all sides except one, like a mitt, and you can just stick your hand inside of it. I feel that this gives really, really good control. Now, I discovered this format when one came as part of a cleansing set by Emma Hardy, and I became obsessed with this mitt, not the cleanser. So I actually went to buy more, and although they were the most luxurious and the softest I've ever tried, I didn't really want to spend 26 euros on 3 of them. It just wasn't a good value. So I started searching around, and I found a French company that sells 4 of these for 7 euros. And since they're within the EU, I don't have to pay any import charges. And if I can find any alternatives in the US and the UK, I'll make sure to list those down below too. Now, like any cloths, you do have to replace them anywhere from 4 to 6 months. When they start losing that real softness, they start to get a little scratchy. And that's when I just repurpose them. I use them for kitchen cleaning cloths or for cleaning other things in the house, and they're fantastic for that. I just love these things so much. So that was item 1 on the list. I can tell you for sure the double cleanse has been a game changer for my skin. And I'm guessing that if you come here because of skincare, you're probably already doing this. So no big surprise. So item number 2 on the list is slugging. Now, I have been doing this for years. I have been talking about it for years, but I truly saw the positive impact when things went wrong with my skin. Now, I'm sure y'all know all about slugging, and it's nothing more than applying an occlusive to seal in moisture and prevent transepidermal water loss. But let me tell you, this stuff gets important when you get to my age and everything starts to just dry up. Now, I find slugging is great when my skin barrier is particularly damaged. And let me just tell you, trying new things that don't work is an occupational hazard of having this channel. So when this happens, I need to ditch the actives and employ a very simple and a very gentle routine with very few products. And boy, does slugging work wonders as a last step in this routine. So if I use this all over my face before bed, I wake up with plump, hydrated, happier skin. I mean, it's just the bee's knees. And luckily, I don't have to do that very often. But if my skin is feeling particularly dry or dehydrated, which particularly as we go into the winter months can happen more frequently, this also works a treat. This is when I layer up hydrators, like layers of essences and serums and things that are really going to juice up my skin. And I pop this on top. And again, I wake up in the morning with happy, hydrated skin. But what I found even more surprising is the long-term reparative work that it can do. So last year, I tried an anti-aging device that really destroyed the area around my eyes. It actually created wrinkles, it dried out my skin, and it emphasized the crepiness. And I'm telling you, it just aged me. I didn't need that. It was devastating. So I've been trying all the things to repair this area for the past year, year and a half, and I have found that slugging has been instrumental. So I do this twice a day, and I do it just on this area, and it locks everything down, it locks everything in, so whatever I put underneath it just works better. Now look, I know slugging is not for everyone. Like, those with oily skin need not apply. And it's messy, but I don't care. And it has a very firm place in my routine. Now, I love Aquaphor, I love the CeraVe ointment, but the one that's really stolen my heart is the Prequel Skin Utility Ointment. I've talked about it a few times. I just think it's more elegant. It just feels nicer on my skin, and I just can't get enough of it. My only wish is that they had a little travel size that I could keep in my bag. CeraVe won that one. I take it with me everywhere. Okay, number 3 on my list is sleeping on my back. If you've been here before, this will not surprise you. Now, I've been sleeping on my back for about 4 years, and I'm still surprised by the benefits. Now, I originally started this for vanity reasons. I'm not going to lie. My chest wrinkles were starting to get really defined, and I wanted to stop it before it became permanent. This is not an easy thing to do. I was a dedicated side sleeper, and I really couldn't get comfortable on my back, let alone last the entire night. It took me almost 2 years to find the right method, the right pillow, just the right combination of things for me to last the night and to wake up refreshed. So usually when I go to bed, I do a bit of reading, so I have big pillows that are in place. But once it's time for me to go to sleep, I take all the pillows out and I just put my pillow down and I just lay my head down. And that's the position that my head stays in the whole night. But the key for me was also putting a pillow underneath my knees. That slightly elevated knee position is what makes everything comfortable. If I don't have that pillow under my knees, this does not work. But what I do then is look at the positioning of my legs. And this is where I call the 4 position. I have one leg out and I have one leg bent at the knee, placed on my shin. And it might not look comfortable, but it is the most comfortable thing ever. And I can sleep like this all night. Now, what I do is I often swap the position of my legs. So if my left leg is straight at the beginning, then it moves over to the right leg is straight. It's sort of the equivalent to turning over without physically turning over. This is the position that I have been sleeping in now for years. It is so incredibly comfortable. I wake up perfectly rested, and I think having that pillow under my knee and getting the position on my legs was a game changer. So not only are my chest wrinkles gone, my neck wrinkles are nearly non-existent, which is really surprising for someone my age. I'm 53, by the way, but it is so much more than just the vanity. For one, this position gives me the optimal body support. It's like an even weight distribution, and that maintains the natural alignment from our head to our neck and our spine while we're sleeping. That means there's just less pressure and compression on our muscles, our neck muscles and our back muscles. And do you know what that translates to? I don't ache as much as I should. I used to wake up with neck aches and with back aches, and I just don't get them much since I started sleeping on my back. And at this stage, I thought I would be getting a lot more of them. Then there's the sinus benefit. Now, I personally don't suffer from chronic sinus problems, but I do notice the difference when I'm sick. So when I'm stuffed up or I'm feeling pressure here in my face, it's not nearly as bad as it used to be during sleep, because it kind of releases all that buildup while you're sleeping. And then there's just the general sleep quality. I just seem to sleep better. I don't toss and turn as much. Like, I do reposition my legs throughout the night, but that doesn't wake me up. I sleep quite peacefully. I do believe that the right pillow has made a significant difference. Now, I've experimented with quite a few at this stage, and I finally met the pillow love of my life. It is called the Alla by Sleep and Glow. Y'all know I love her. She's made specifically for back sleepers, and she just cradles my head so perfectly, and it's so comfortable that I can sort of barely tilt my head from side to side. So it gives me that sort of movement, so you're not like locked in and claustrophobic. It's just enough to make you feel supported. And the neck support is actually the perfect height. Now, I tried quite a few that were too tall, and I woke up with neck aches. My only complaint about this pillow is that she's not travel friendly. Like, she's big, right? I can't take her with me, and it makes a big difference when I'm away. Actually, in fact, do have one at my parents' house in the US for when I come to visit, because I like it that much. Now, back sleeping is not for everyone. It's not recommended for those who suffer from sleep apnea, for example, and it may not be great for snorers, or for those who live with snorers. I'm not really sure. I'm not a snorer. Right, Gary?
No.
But for me, this has been a game changer, because sleep is sacred. Anything that improves my sleep quality is a winner. So guys, before we move on, if you're enjoying this video, I would love if you would hit that like button so the video reaches more people, and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Number 4, not washing my hair every day. This has been a very big pill to swallow, and one that I was very reluctant to adopt. But my menopausal hair has forced my hand. I have been on a big journey to deal with the head of hair that stopped feeling like my own. I pretty much woke up on my 51st birthday and my soft, silky hair had turned to straw. It made me reevaluate a ton of stuff. Now, there are probably many of you who are laughing at me right now or saying, what's the big deal? But I washed my hair every single day since I was the age of 13. So we're talking 40 years. I didn't know how not to do that. For decades, my hairdressers have been saying, stop! I just thought it was gross. The thought of not cleaning my hair every day honestly gave me the ick. Tons of my friends don't wash their hair every day. Colleagues, family members, many of them don't do it. But it wasn't until I started to see how much worse my hair felt every time I washed and styled it. The fact is, my menopausal body has just started to dry up. It sounds so mean and wicked when I say it out loud, but I've actually found that my hair gets softer, each day I don't wash it. It's weird, but true. I recently did a full video about my hair journey and my hair routine. So if you'd like to hear more on that topic, I will put a link to that here as well as at the end of this video. This has required more experimentation. Even different ways of sleeping to maintain or to even create hairstyles overnight. But it's worked out well, and my overall hair health has improved. The last thing on my list may seem a little left of field, but it has made such a huge impact on my life. So number 5 on my list is understanding glucose. This hit me like a Mack truck. So I read a book called The Glucose Revolution, and it completely changed the way I view food and what I choose to eat. And this is significant for a girl who hates to cook, therefore loves convenience food, and also loves fast food. Gary knows I love all the bad stuff. So this whole thing came about because at 51, when my hair started changing and everything else, I started gaining weight. I hadn't changed anything in like 10 or 15 years, but I was continuously putting on weight, particularly around my waist where I don't tend to gain weight, and my arms. Anyway, I started researching nutrition, exercise, hormones, menopause, and how all of these things were connected. And it was all very interesting to me. Now, I must say, I know nothing. I am not trained in any of these areas. I'm just a regular person trying to make smart choices to live a healthy life as long as I can. Not an expert, don't listen to me. But here's what I've learned. So glucose, quite simply, is a type of sugar that comes from the food we eat, and it is our body's main source of energy. So when we eat, food breaks down to glucose and it enters the bloodstream. Now our body releases a hormone called insulin, which helps absorb the glucose so that our body can use it as energy. But if there's too much glucose in the blood, like after a sugary or a starchy meal, insulin helps to bring that down. However, if your body isn't able to make enough insulin, or if it can't respond properly, which is what happens to people with diabetes, your glucose levels stay high. And if our glucose levels stay high, our body stores it. So here's what happens after we eat. So first, our body uses it for immediate use. Like we need glucose to function, so it's used as a quick energy source for cells, powering everything from our muscles to our brain. So that's good. Then next, it's going to store it for future use. So extra glucose is stored in our muscles and in our liver. It's kind of like a backup fuel tank. Then what's left over after that is converted to fat. So once the backup fuel tank is full, any extra glucose is converted to fatty acids and it's stored in our fat cells as body fat. Boo. So if we consume more glucose than we're using, our body stores it as fat to ensure that it has an energy source down the road, which it may or may not use. And consistently high glucose levels can lead to health problems over time. So what we want are balanced levels, which are key to maintaining good health, a stable energy, and a functioning body. But here is what I did not realize. Sugar is everywhere. I mean, it's in the obvious places like candies and sweets and cakes. And some people know about the starches like bread, rice, and pasta, which is why the low-carb diet is so effective, although horrible in my opinion, but it's even so much more prevalent than that. The problem is it's added to just about every food on the shelf in the grocery store. And then there are the whole foods that are supposed to be good for us, but spike our glucose levels, like fruits, potatoes, and honey. So I started to read every single freaking label, which makes me look like a crazy person, but whatever. And more importantly, I started tracking the impact of glucose on my own body. So I started wearing a glucose monitor so I can actually see the impact of the food after I ate it. And in fact, Gary started wearing one too, and it was fascinating. In fact, the things that spiked me didn't spike Gary, and vice versa. Now, there was one little joy. Wine and champagne don't spike either of us. It was like a little gift from the wine gods. But what this has done is completely changed my eating habits. Now, look, I haven't given up all things that I love. You know, I never met a potato I didn't like, but I make better choices, and I try to eat whole foods as much as possible. Cook from scratch. Well, Gary cooks from scratch as much as we can. And I use hacks from the Glucose Revolution to keep my levels as stable as possible. Look, I'm not perfect. I binge on ice cream the day after I've had too many wines, but I try to do my best. It is a complicated subject, but it's made me so much more aware of what I'm putting in my body. Now, if you have any interest in me doing a full video on this, including my glucose monitor and how it works, let me know. Now, this is a really complicated topic. I mean, nutrition, health, all of it is related. And I know very little about it, but what I have learned has had huge impact on the choices I make and what I put into my body to use as fuel. So if I decide I have a Big Mac, I just have a Big Mac. I just try not to do it often at all. So guys, that is it for today's video. These are 5 things that have helped change my life. Now, if you have an interest in seeing another video, let me know, because originally this was 10. And Carrie said, are you kidding? It's too long. So I have more. I always seem to have more. So if you're interested in a part 2 of things that changed my life, just put comments for me down below and I will make that happen. Guys, I'd love to hear the things that have changed your life. What are the things that you just didn't know, or maybe you knew but you didn't do, and at some stage in your life you realize it's had a great impact on your life? I would love to hear from you. So thank you so much for joining me here today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up, and I can't wait to see you at the next video. Bye. Bottom shelf in the bathroom of our little thingy is a little round container. It holds face thingies. It's round, it's cloth, it has a zip on it. It's on the bottom shelf of the stand. It houses a bunch of things I used to clean my face in it. You're not listening at all, are you?
No.
Okay. Sleep quality, it's really hard to slay. Slay. Slay?